How about now?
Yes.
Okay. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the new cycle of cybersecurity internship awareness training. Right. Uh, this, as we see always, we try to cover 3 to 4 weeks, 4 weeks of cybersecurity. Every time we do make some changes into this part in cybersecurity internship program. But one thing that is going to remain constant all the time is going to be the first week of webinar, right? The first week of internship program will always going to remain the same. And this plays as a very important uh, day for cybersecurity cycle. The main reason is that we go much more into the concepts. What do you mean by cybersecurity? What are the different concepts in cybersecurity? And what do you mean by an attack? All right, a lot of things that comes into play that we discuss about this. And in the next couple of weeks, we always change certain amount of things compared to the previous session, right? So that is what we do. Uh, yes, I think please can you guys mute your audio? Thank you very much. You know, uh, this particular cyber security webinars and internship program is basically why is that we came up with, and what are the things that we are going to do is that we saw that there's a huge demand in cybersecurity. Uh, Especially for me, what happened was I also was there in a recruiting position. I used to recruit people for my team. In fact, the finding a right candidate was a very difficult opportunity, right? So, in fact, in my previous job opening, we interviewed more than 900 people around just to fill up 2 positions. And the thing is that all of them is not that they're not good candidates or anything. Most of them are very good candidates, but the problem they faced is that they don't know what to study and what topics to focus on, because a lot of certifications are there, and those certification will tell their topics is important for cybersecurity roles and getting openings in that, but that is not the case in real time. All right, so that is uh, apart from me doing a lot of interviews, I used to also guide their students, or people used to come in for the interviews, tell them this is not the topics that you should focus on, and things, all those things. All right, so in this 4 weeks webinar and internship, what we see here, we'll be focusing on those job ready topics, right? There are a lot of topics out there. It is cybersecurity. There was a time when there was no resource at all online. Nowadays, there's too much resource. You guys, it becomes very difficult to know what to study and what not to study, what is important and what is there in a job requirement. Unless until you have started working out there, you will not know which are the topics that is relevant for us part. And that is the reason why it is basically why we tell go with this 4 weeks program. We'll cover a lot of topics. We'll see. So what are the things that we do it here? You have to go in much more deeper into that part. In our main course, whatever we are doing here is what we go much more in a practical hands-on way. And that is what we see, right? And one more reason why we have DevOps class first and then we have DevSecOps, main reason is before we could go security, we need to understand the underlying technology very much. Before we could go with DevSecOps, it is need to understand what is DevOps is important, right? Understanding Linux and things and everything. I've seen very specifically when we come to the main course, people who are coming from DevOps are much more easy to understand. The reason why security is of much demand, the thing is that number of openings are high, but you still see that positions don't get filled up quite fast compared to any other job roles because it is bit on the learning curve is bit on the higher end, right? So when you come with DevOps, then we move from there, it becomes much more easier, right? That is what is going to be the reason. And let's come to the structure of what we are doing in the next 4 weeks, including the current week that is going to be there. In the first week, we'll be looking at the security awareness. This is basically uh, getting your toes, wet in the cybersecurity role, understanding what's exactly happening and things into that. Uh, in the next week, in the second week, we'll talk about much more deeper dive into the penetration testing. What do you mean by ethical hacking? How do you go about? What are the different phases in that? And how do you approach, right? What is your thing? What is the infrastructure security? What is web application? We will look into that components into that. In third week, we see the one of the most, the in demand, which is very severe skill shortage, that is DevSecOps rules. We'll understand what that is going to be there. And in the final week, we'll talk about cloud security, right? In reality, this all what we do in a 3 week to 3 to 4 weeks time gets combined in every job role we are seeing nowadays. And that is what the main agenda of this part, right? So without any ado, let's start, right? So before, so hope this is, we'll go from here, right? So before we could go further, right, we need to understand what is a cyber attack, right? So you might have learned about, a lot of information on, like, there was a cyber attack on this, there was an FBI was attacked, Facebook was attacked, and any other Verizon was attacked, and a lot of people data breach. What do you mean from this? So what do you mean from this part, right? What is called, when do you call someone got their infrastructure got attacked? What do you mean from that, right? So cyber attack is an intentional effort to steal, expose, alter, disable, or destroy data, application, or other assets through unauthorized access to a network, computer system, or digital device. In a simple way, we can tell is that, let's say you have a diary and you're writing your diary and someone steals your diary and reads it, that is your privacy gone and someone has stolen your data, right? But that is not a digital data. Any data that is stored online in a digital format, we are using some kind of a computer to store that information or manipulate or transfer that information. And in those situations, data get compromised or some other thing is happening out there, some malicious activity is happening on the computer network or on the computer devices, that is going to be called as a cyber attack. Nowadays, it is not a new thing, right? It is a lot of companies are getting hacked. Previously, we used to see a lot of big organizations getting hacked. Nowadays, we see cyber attacks are quite common. Even small organizations. I've seen small hotels which are running having one single five-star hotel in a single place. They're not a multi chain of hotels or anything. They are getting attacked. They are getting losing their data, customer information, credit card information. All those things is happening out there, right? In the recent times, let's look at top profile breaches out there. AT&T data breach, 73 million or 57 million customers. The data is not confirmed. They don't know. They're thinking it might have affected 53 million, 51 million in some places and 73 million in some places, right? But even though this data was lost, this hack happened in 2019, it came into surface only in recent times in 2024. Only recently we have seen that AT&T was hacked, and that too they've never reached out. In the dark web, they started getting data about AT&T customers, and then when the investigation went into trade, they had reached out about the attacks to the official, but they never reached out to the public or to the customers who lost their data out there. Right, that is one thing. In 2021, LinkedIn also got breached. About 93% of LinkedIn members, more than 700 million uh, users were affected. Right, if you have not changed your LinkedIn profile password since 2021, right, if you have done it before that, it is a good time to change your password. There is a good chance your account may be compromised, right? And do that part. And recently, Microsoft also got attacked more at a larger scale. I'm not talking here about the blue screen attack. This is something which is a bit more earlier. Here, it was not users who got attacked. Here, the organization got attacked, right? Lot of companies use a Microsoft suite for managing their Outlook for the employees and other things. 13,000 organizations, right? 30,000 organizations. Think about, even if there's 100 people in each organization, how many users will be compromised, right? And not only that, a lot of companies will store their proprietary data in the Microsoft cloud as well. They're having their teams and other things uh, for storing of those information that is there. And T-Mobile also lost about 14 million user record compromised. That is the main thing. I think one of the most damning, I think I personally feel the impact wise, we lose a lot of data and things. That's quite common. Sony, we lost about 70 million or users credit card information and things like that. The one which I feel is having a larger impact is credit from Equifax. They lost about 143 million American social security number. A lot of their banking information, their credit card information, credit history, and along with that, this is a much more potent data about someone which can be used for identity theft as well, right? And they lost about half of the population of the US. And this was a major attack, and this attack could have been easily averted. They were using a vulnerable component or vulnerable device software for a long time, right? There was a vulnerability out for that particular important component for more than 6 months. They did not fix it. They did not go on that, and they did not fix it. And they end up losing 143 million American social security, right? These are major attacks that you will see. But you'll see one common thing, right? Have you ever
Uh,
seen? Yeah,
I
yes,
think the major, one of the biggest attacks so far happened a few days before that. United Healthcare, they brought on the light that they have a huge data loss, and though they are compliant with HIPAA and high trust, but still that is considering the biggest data loss so far now
yes, yes.
in
That is
healthcare
also there.
industry.
Yes, that is also there. And few years back, United Kingdom's National Health Service, they got hit by a ransomware. It means that they could not perform operations, and a lot of things could happen. Their complete health system got shut down because of their ransomware. And it affected them significantly, right? A lot of operations were postponed, and it was very difficult because when you completely lock someone out, for you to do an operation, you need a lot of customer, the patient information and things. That also was not available out there. The X-rays and everything, MRI scan, everything gets stored nowadays in a computer. There's no physical copy there, and that affects also, right? It changes significantly. Uh, if you look at something like the Microsoft blue screen, that is not, you cannot tell as an attack. That is just an the clouds strike. They had an issue with one of the bugs, and that bugs got activated, and it prevented it. You can take it under a DOS attack, but it was not a malicious intent. It was something which it's not should have happened, but it happened out there, right? So that those are the things that we see, top breaches and things and all. And you'll never see one thing common you can see is that you'll never see bank getting breached, right? You never seen that Bank of America got hacked and things and all in the news and everything like that. I- In fact, what happens is that banks are the most targeted, and they lose billions of dollars every year. But banks have a special, um, privilege from the countries. They don't need to disclose their attacks. That's the main advantage they get. They are allowed to, because main reason is that if they have to disclose, people will lose trust, and they will not you know uh, deposit money in banks and things like that. So they are prevented. Actually, Bank of America got hacked quite some time back. Hackers actually messaged their security team telling that on this particular day, on this particular minute, we are going to get hacked, and we are going to. They even gave the resources that they are going to hack, and they are going to do that. They did exactly that. They did exactly that. They gave in couple of 10 days probably in advance, and they went through everything, the security team, and they could not find anything, and they still got hacked. And exactly at that time. That is how good. banks get hacked, and we'll talk about next different groups that are there that are focused on this kind of an activity, right? So let's understand. So I'm talking about breach and incident and event and everything. So what are these things, right? An event we can call as an attempt to bypass the security. There are millions of events per second, meaning someone will try to, let's say you have a Gmail account, someone will try to open your Gmail account. They know your email ID, but they don't know your password, right? And they will enter the email ID and they will enter random password to check. That is an event. They did not get in, they did not get any information or anything. That is an event out there, right? Someone is trying to gain access to the company database and trying to do those things. That is what is going to happen out there, right? That is one thing. Second component is an incident, right? An event to bypass a single event level or security, but did not access information. So this is basically what you can do is that there are certain times a particular firewall may be compromised or a server may be compromised, but they attacked a wrong server and no data was lost, right? Or they compromised, let's say, an user in the company, but that user did not have any information or anything. They could not get any information, right? No data was lost, no financial loss or anything. At that time, it will be taken as an incident, meaning there was some degree of success, some degree of success. They were able to break multiple, one or two security perimeters, but no data was lost, right? A breach, on the other hand, is where you have been able to compromise your security measures have been compromised and you have lost your data, right? Someone has gained data. Let's say someone has gained access to the banking information. They're able to modify that, probably add more money to a particular account or remove money from an account or anything, or delete complete account, breach something else up there. So that is what is a breach about, right? The breach is very much important for us, and any hacker, our main goal is to breach someone's company, right? To get access to the data. It is also a very important problem for nowadays what we're seeing. Previously, a lot of companies, right? We used to know that think that big companies are going to be there, small companies are not going to be there, and that is no longer the case. Small companies also get hacked, quite significantly. And sometimes what happens is that these small companies will not know they are breached also, right? That is a very much problematic that occurs we see in the current format. And there are cases where organizations come to us and ask us, I work in a pen testing environment where my day-to-day job revolves around hacking components and checking out where's the security issues and things like that. And when the companies come to us and ask us, if you want to see, and we will see that they have been hacked quite some time back, we'll see the traces and things like that. And we'll actually go through it and then they will understand, then they get more serious at that time. And that is how it is, right? So breach is a major thing is complete, right? So let's try to understand what are the major types of attacks, basic web application attacks, denial of service, and system intrusion. Nowadays, in an earlier situation, right? So this what we are seeing right now in the top two order basic web application, denial of service, system intrusion. A lot of companies will have websites, right? And after initial they don't give a large number of additional actions. So here, these websites can be hacked, and when you compromise this, you can get whatever the data that is stored in the website can be taken out and made modified and things like that. That is there. And nowadays we are seeing the basic web applications are moving towards much more complex. The more data and everything that is going to be there, that becomes a major issue. The second thing that is very most difficult is denial of service. We see denial of service are intended to compromise the availability of the network or system. This includes both network and application and layer attacks that are there. So what exactly it means is that a normal user was supposed to do that activity, whatever the activity that they are able to do, will not be able to do it. All right. For instance, let's say in a bank cashier, what happens if he's not allowed to log in? Because if he's not allowed to log in, he will not be able to deposit cash, and it can be a problem for them. Right. In a similar way, a lot of things can be happened out there. Right. For instance, let's say you're using an IT infrastructure for managing share prices, and where you can sell your stock and things like that, where every second is an important. There may be a delay in selling a particular stock or purchasing some particular stock. It can actually increase the cost you in millions, right? What if I can do make slow your network at that time so that it will prevent you from getting that information, doing that, which will cost you millions of dollars. Or it could also mean that, one simple example you can have is, what if most of your, you know, on an Amazon, there'll be one particular day in a year, they'll sell the maximum number of products. That number of products that they sell on that particular day will be higher than what they would sell in a particular month in some other part of it. Somewhere around between December 15th to December 25th, one of days will be those days. What they might sell in a March or April or May, they'll sell more product in that one day than that. What if the Amazon web server goes down on that particular day? Right? Someone is able to attack that server, bring the server down. They're not taking any data out. They're not stealing any confirmation or anything, customer information or anything, nothing. They're not stealing anything. They're just preventing that website from opening to the customers. Right? That is what a denial of service attack is going to be there. And that is happens. So we do test out large organizations there where we actually simulate this kind of an attack, trying to get the server down. And companies will like to know what is their threshold, how many attacks they can get these things, right? Nowadays, it is becoming very difficult to do a quality denial of service attack. But what happened in recent time in US is that, so US, a lot of people use IP web CCTV cameras, where their CCTV camera is connected to their Wi-Fi router, and they can view the feed of those CCTV cameras from anywhere. So this particular product of CCTV camera had a vulnerability. What hackers did was they took about 10 million devices all over US, and they use this device as slave to attack on a very particular system, right? So that is how to do denial of service attack, because when this particular product or a target website was very good when it comes to denial of service attack, they had done hackers had tried to compromise it. Before that, they were not able to do because it was managing very well. Even a very high traffic, it was able to manage it. So they wanted to make it beyond 1 point. So they got a loophole in one of those IP cameras, and anywhere in the US that camera is there, they were able to compromise it with ease and use it. And they used it together at a single instance, and they were able to compromise. That is there, right? So final
So
one
a quick
is,
note,
yes,
if you guys having any question or any doubt, anything to ask, don't hesitate, unmute yourself and ask your question,
yes,
because
please,
this session is supposed to be an interactive session. Okay.
yes. So the last one was system intrusion. System intrusion basically dealing the servers at an OS level. This is much more complex, much more. You need to be much more. Attackers have to be much more capable for doing this kind of an attack. Uh, this is we don't see this system intrusion quite often. Predominantly, this is very difficult because you need to have a zero-day attack, something a new, absolutely new vulnerability, new attack type pattern. Because anything that happens in a couple of days old, it gets fixed, right? And as long as you are updating your software to the latest versions, you'll not be subjected to this part. But if you're not careful, this could be a major problem for that. That's how we see. But what is the attack patterns, which is that what is going to see of their things and all. We have seen in recent times denial of service is quite common, right? Because the main reason is denial of service takes very little skill set. You don't have to do much about basic skill set. Uh, System intrusion and basic web applications, you could see in 2022 it is a bit more, in 2023 it has gone down, it is not there. Uh, Privilege misuse, it is there, meaning uh, this is basically a disgruntled employee trying to hack their own company. They're not hackers, they don't know how to use hacking tools or anything, but they may be someone who is taking a photocopy of the confidential data and putting it that and taking out of office, copying contents on the pen drive, or deleting if they have been wrongfully released or let go from the organization, they would have deleted the data unnecessarily. That is the reason, one of the reasons why people revoke their access rights before firing them is that for the same reason, because if they feel if they're terminated for no reason, they might delete data. So that is there. A lot of other things, everything that comes into play. Social engineering is quite steady. People, we have not seen the phishing mails or anything malicious mails, Nigerian prince trying to reach you out. People, the number of people clicking on those false emails and false SMS and false WhatsApp messages is quite constant. It has not gone up or down. It's quite, we'll see there. But there are organizations, they face problems on that, But this is the pattern that is going to be there. But most common we see, right? The most common we test in real-time organizations is web application, where for infrastructure system intrusion, there's a lot of tools that are there that can be used to identify vulnerabilities and fix it. But web application requires still now with lots of hands-on, and that is one role that people focus on, right? A lot of certifications focus on system intrusion stuffs. They don't give more importance, cybersecurity certifications on that. But from a web application perspective, this is where 95% of my workload revolves around web application, right? So that is there. But this is the incidents, like people are seeing someone is trying to do and things and all. But where is that we lose data, right? Where is that we lose data? You will see there is no denial of service here, because in denial of service, you don't lose any data at all, right? System intrusion still reaches out a lot, because in a web application, there's a limited data, only data in that web application is compromised. Whereas in system intrusion, what happens is that a lot more thing goes out, right? That is why, because they still, and system intrusion mainly occurs because people forget to patch their servers or systems and things, and it still happens at the cloud level as well, right? AWS and GCP and Azure give a very good security. Still, there's the configuration issues by the admin guys. They don't know how to secure the servers and things like that. That is there. The second level we see is that in the basic web application, that we see that is a compromise that is there. The lot of smaller organization, number of attacks will be more in web application, what I see, because nowadays everyone has a web application. And if you, whenever we search about a company, their website comes into play, right? So the breaches is quite common out there. Social engineering is, this has occurred a lot. People clicking on the wrong link, entering their company username and password. It is still a major problem, and we still see, right? It can be quite difficult. We also have done it, help with customers, because a lot of time customer will come and tell us that, we want to see, one second, some issue. We want to see what is the readiness of our customers, clients, or their employees and things. What we do is that we send out a fake phishing mail. This phishing mail is totally controlled by us. We get creative, right? We just don't tell such standard phishing mails or anything. We do a lot of research. Sorry. We do a lot. One second. Sorry, guys. Sorry. We do a lot of research about the organization. We check out what are the nearby hotels and restaurants that are there. And we send out a fake coupons to the employees out here. right? And they'll click on their phishing mails, thinking that they'll get, they're going to get the coupons or anything, end up clicking on a phishing mail, giving out organization details, their username and passwords and things like that. And we also have sent out fake company gifts, during festive times in India. Deepavali festive, please click on the link. Your company is providing you a gift coupon, and they'll click and they'll, since company is providing a gift coupon, they will be much more inclined to entering the organization username and password. Right. If you get any Christmas, gift coupons from your organization, just check with the management. Are they sending that mails or not? Just don't blindly click on it. There's a, that is a very good thing, you know. So that is what social engineering basically about. Miscellaneous errors and privilege misuse, we see that, that is quite common. Uh, Lost and stolen assets, people losing laptops, and their laptop data and the laptop is stolen. That is, there are some cases where companies have lost servers, meaning the thieves would get inside the company premise and take the server out. That has happened. And there are cases in social engineering also there where they have come inside the company posing as engineers for the servers, and they told something wrong in the server and they took the server out in the front door with everyone's blessings. And only after some time they got to know that they lost the server out there. And that has happened in real time as well. Right? That's the thing that usually happens with that. So now you might ask, okay, these are the different types of attack. But what is a cyber security? Right? You remember we are not spoken about security till now. We've only spoken about what is a cyber attack. So what happens in an attack and things like that. But what is a cyber attack? So what is a cyber security? Cyber security is a practice of protecting systems, networks and programs from digital attacks, right? In real term, business need comprehensive solution that is built to protect its information, reputation and continuity, right? Understand one thing, data breach sometimes is you're going to lose data, but when people trust your company and you lose data and they lose the trust, they'll stop using your product. That will have a much more bigger impact than the data attack itself. They might have lost money in that and things and all that will have. Reputation also plays a major role, right? And Target supermarket in US, one of the prime examples for that. Long time back, I think more than over 10 years back before that, they had a cyber attack and they had to disclose it, right? Uh, Around November month's time, and people lost trust in Target and did not purchase anything on Target for the Christmas. The amount of business they lost has had significant impact on their they had to close the Canadian operations. They fired thousands of employees all over the world, right? And it was even in India we could see a lot of my relatives lost jobs because of that. For a single attack, someone was sitting in the parking lot of a single Target supermarket. He went from there to hacking the till computer all the way to a very large server, and they lost a lot of data and customer information. But even more bigger attack was people losing trust out there. Reputation plays an important role, and one of the main reasons why we see companies coming out to us and asking us, they might come to us and tell, please, look at our security, help us to make it better and things. Unfortunately, it's not to protect the customer's data or anything, or not out of goodwill. The main reason is, one thing is compliance. The government tells if you're collecting information, this is the bare minimum security you're supposed to give. And at the same time, they're also a bit worried if they get hacked and they will lose the business because customers are not going to trust them, right? So what is that I have to protect? What do you mean by cybersecurity? What is that I have to protect, right? So what do you mean by a breach of confidentiality? When I'll tell there is a security is compromised, what is that? What should be compromised? There, the compromise is going to be confidentiality, availability, and integrity. And either three of them gets compromised, either one of them out of three, then it is considered a breach of security. security is compromised in this situation of that. Confidentiality is very simple, right? You're having your data. No one is supposed to see the data except the authorized people of that. That is as simple as that. Anyone can view the data apart from you. That is confidentiality, breach of confidence. For instance, you are having an email. You send that email to your client. Only you and your client are supposed to view that information. Anyone else looking at that email is a breach of confidentiality. That's the main thing. Integrity is similar to confidentiality, but here we are modifying the data, right? Confidentiality is just giving someone having access to your data, but they can't make modifications of that, right? Modifications mean adding new records or deleting the existing record or updating the existing record, making some form of changes to that part, right? That is integrity. And availability is what, as we spoke earlier, denial of service. So your service should be available to the right people at any time of their choice. You know, in some cases, what they did was they had a particular person. If they wanted to compromise his account and they wanted to make sure that he cannot have access to that particular day. So what they did is they knew his ID and they started entering wrong passwords 4 to 5 times. And that guy got logged out again and again and again and again, right? They used to send the mail. They had to stop it, right? They had to major issue. So that is also one form of denial of service that was there. So this is one thing, right? This is breach. Under the CIA triad, you will get authentication and authorization, right? Authentication is basically who you are, and authorization basically what you are, right? That is what basically it is about. So for instance, whenever you log into your bank details, bank account, you enter your username and password, and probably you're going to enter your OTP and things like that, right? So the reason why you're doing is that you're authenticating yourself to the bank website, meaning you're telling, let's say if I'm entering, Karthik is entering his username and password in the bank, net banking and things like that. I'm proving my identity to the bank, telling that I am Karthik and here is the proof for that, right? How do I provide the proof? Either by entering password, entering OTP, or combination of other things, all those things that is going to be there. Authorization is you're inside the website or in the company. It is going to decide what data you have access to, right? That is what basically is about. For instance, you may enter when you swipe your card, you may enter the company compound or in the building of that, but you'll be restricted to a certain floor itself, right? When you come inside the company, when you go inside the company, you're proving your identity, but you accessing which floor you are going to be there, that is going to be based on your role, what job you're doing, what is your activity, what is the role and things and all. A particular department will work only in a particular floor and only you have access to that part. That is, you can talk about authorization. In a general terms, banking terms, you can say is that you will have account details information only to your account information, right? I cannot see your neighbor accounts, even though he may have a bank account in the same bank as yours, but you will not be able to view his data. If you're able to view his data without any permission, that is breach of authentication, right? If I'm able to compromise your username and password, that is breach of authentication. So if I'm able to compromise your confidentiality, availability, integrity, authentication, and authorization, that is what we call a breach of security. And how do we protect these components is called cyber security. It is important that we protect all these things. There's a reason why you're giving an OTP. Even after you enter username and password, you're still supposed to provide an OTP. They still we have to check what are the access rights you have, all those things that are there, right? That is there. So any questions here? Any questions till now? Right, we'll do authorizations, unauthorized access, and then we'll take a 5 minutes break. and then probably we'll start again for the remaining part of the slides. Okay. So unauthorized, we can tell about is, let's say here we're talking about a simple admin page here. But basically we're talking about access to certain activities or access to certain data without proper permission, right? A particular activity may be allowed only to the manager. A normal company user may not have access to that, or an hacker should not have access to that. But if someone is able to gain access for that particular part, that is going to be called as an unauthorized access. Simple example I can give is that I was working pen testing one of the Middle Eastern banks out there. Complete. I was able to see the details of all the customers in that bank, right from their first transaction all the way to the current transaction they are having out there. Number of checkbooks that have been received by them, number of checks deposited, what money they deposited, on all those things. I could not make any modification there, but I was able to gain access for those things. So that is one example for an unauthorized access. Okay, so that's it. So let's take a 5 minutes breather here. Okay, so once we are done with that part, you can ask me any questions related to the what we have done till now, or anything else that is you feel it's relevant in this case. And after that small 5 minutes break, we'll come back here. Okay, let me stop sharing. Yep,
Yeah,
and
we
every
do.
yes,
Yes,
please
we
continue.
do have a long way to go because this session is is going to continue for another 4 weekend and daily 2 hours. But still, we are going to only scratch the surface because in total 8 hours is not good enough to make someone job ready. And where we are talking about domain like cybersecurity, because always remember your competitor, they have completed their masters, some people they have completed their PhD on the cybersecurity. So yes, we have taken not mammoth size, maybe dinosaur size challenges that we have to make someone, regardless of their prior experience or prior profile, make them job ready for cybersecurity and DevSecOps position in 6 weeks. I'm talking about the job ready training. So we do have two training. Please, there is a lots of confusions going on. People are think there are one that is a free training every weekend, Saturday for 2 hours, same time for next 4 weekend. And we do have our job ready training that is a paid one that is go for 6 weeks, Monday to Friday, 5 days in a week, daily 2 hours. So over there we have lots and lots of time and availability and flexibility to cover more and more thing and make and our job ready training 85% are hands-on, because we know at the end of the day when you are sitting in the interview panel, no interviewer going to ask you that what is what is cyber security, what is brute force attack, or what is vulnerability. Most of your question you will face scenario based or how. So until unless you make your hand dirty with the task, you will not able to answer those questions. And that's the reason most of our job retraining are hands-on. So guys, if you have any question, now I can see some of our job ready students also here, I think few. So if you have any question, feel free to ask. Quick information from next weekend, first 2 hours we will have our DevOps free internship, and after that will be followed by 2 hours cybersecurity internship. So and the DevOps internship is 8 weeks because there are lots and lots of things we need to cover. And so that's the reason it will continue for another 8 weeks. So those who wants to start, uh, at least ping or complete your registration as soon as you can. Our this November our job ready training for DevOps and cybersecurity and AI. DevOps and cybersecurity morning batch is going to start. Morning batch means US morning, UK and European Union is evening. And because European Union have only one batch, they can only enroll for this batch only. Because US evening batch, that is their midnight, so they cannot enroll. So if you have any plan to hop in on this journey, let us know. Yeah, Wisdom, please. Wisdom, would you like to ask any question?
I was unmuted. I'm muted myself now. So you said the timing. What about us? Me, basically, I'm based in Nigeria. So how is the timing for the train going to affect me?
I think so. We do have some very, I don't know how to describe those kind of students. Two students. One is Ernest. He is very particular and very regular and very serious. Another student, they join our US evening batch. So that is around 1 a.m. for their time. But they are doing. But most of the people from European Union and Africa, they prefer to join US morning batch because it's fall under there around 5 p.m.
Oh, that would be nice. Like this time we are having this this class now. What is this time in US time?
Yes, this time.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I'm okay with the timing.
Yeah, perfect. Any more question? Yeah, Oyoni. I'm extremely sorry if I pronounce your name wrong.
Okay, just call me Toyin.
Yeah,
Toyin. So I'm based in Canada.
Okay.
And I'm just new in because I'm still looking, because sometimes you have so many information, so I'm looking for a place to enter into a tech. Because before I learned a Python a little bit, I stopped it. I learned like SQL, I stopped it. So I'm looking for a pathway to enter into tech. I don't know which, because I still like business analysis, data analysis, or cyber security.
Now in US, we do have a separate plan that we are going to start very soon. That complete job placement plan. So regardless of your profile, we are going to judge. We are going to assess your profile, and then we'll provide from training, certification, profile building, marketing, everything, and we will make sure that you will get the job within six months, or else you will get your 40% refund. Now we cannot offer that kind of thing for Canada, because Canadian job market and US job market is little different. Canada, they don't have a contractual position. Most of their 85% positions are full time. US just opposite. But there are good number of students who complete only our training and land on a job. So now one more thing, if you felt like I will highly appreciate if you don't leave the class in between. Suppose you paid for our DevOps class or DevSecOps class. If you don't want to commit, better you continue with this free session until unless you feel that okay, this session is worthy, then only commit. Once you commit, I'll recommend you complete the session. Even if you cannot complete in one go, come back to me, come back to us, because in our you can redo the classes until like if you go for the job ready training once and you have some doubt, we normally let you re-enroll for the next batch without paying, because here our goal is to make sure that our students, they are getting ready for the job market, not for only for the training. But as you mentioned earlier, it is little bit fattening for us as well, that you started in data analytics, then leave it, started with Python, leave it. Don't do. You go with this free session until unless you feel like, okay, this is the domain I would like to go, and then this is the career I want in my future. Then go for the our job ready training. And once you've done, regardless of anything, how stiff the training is, don't leave. Because I can given you in the written, if you are very hungry and you are one-eyed with your job, you will make success. I'm giving an example. One family, they have a like very small baby, around 6 or 7 months. They joined, both couple joined, started with DevOps in the month of February. They continue for, and by this September, both of their husband and wife got their job in cybersecurity position. They started with DevOps, took 1 month's break, then moved for DevSecOps position training, and both of them, they are doing job, and their job is really high paying, more than 150K. So now, how much time they devoted, and just consider they have a small kid, right? So if you have that kind of Jill, I think Kalki is the best friend you can have, but you need to have a total devotion and faith. Like regardless of how tough it will be, uh, don't leave the class, because another very cool part of our training is we don't have a hurry or to complete the training within 6 weeks or 7 weeks. Most of the time we extend the classes because we need to make sure that all the students are getting what they are looking for. Okay. Any other question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Wisdom.
Can I speak?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much. With respect to the job ready training, that's my question. For particularly, I'm asking the question because of where I'm based. Because I'm based in Nigeria. So after the training, how are you guys? Is there any provision for us or from you, for us that are not based in the US, for us to get like a job that we can start with? It might not be immediate anyway, which I know.
Now, here is a very dicey part. See, we do have a two segment. We are actually differing from our training to somewhere else. I'm making this thing very in small. If you have other question, you can communicate with me separately, so I can give you broader overview. We have
Okay.
we have a training and we have a consulting firm. So the plan is after the training, we also try to assign our consulting firm to place on the job market. Now our consulting firm is based in US, so we don't have any access to other job market, even in Indian job market as well. So our consulting firm is based out of Delaware, and it have the whole access in US job market only. But for preparation, job ready training, you can take the training where you will make yourself ready for the job market. Now after that you can join, and there are 60% of student, they only done the training and then they go for the full-time position. They did not take any help from our consulting firm. Okay, but after during the training, if you need any resume preparation on resume help, you can communicate with us. We do have our website a good number of libraries with resume template, with um, all the interview question and answer. And if you follow those instruction, from the trainer and or coordinator, even from me, regardless of where you are being. If you're in Canada, if you're Nigeria, if you're India, if you're in US, you will land on a job.
Okay.
Guys, any more question, or should we move back to our training?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sure.
Sir, I am Indrajit Sahu. I am from India. Sir, I have a question that is this free training after completed, then can I performance in Kali Linux or cyber security domain?
See, I think Mr. Karthik is the best one who can answer this one.
Yes. Indrajit, I think from this, after the 4 weeks session, what we are having out here, you will get a brief idea about what is the cybersecurity role that you are going to face. There's a little bit of hands-on we're trying to introduce this year in these sessions. One is SSH, how do you secure your SSH service, and probably few other things out there like cryptography and things like that. From a job ready perspective, I think it will be difficult. I think if you go with the main course, I think that is where you see, much more easier understanding of how to use Kali Linux. In fact, you will see there's a limitation. Depends everything. It is not depending on the operating system. It is mostly depending on the tools that you are using out there. Right? So that is there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. But I would strongly suggest you to go through the next 2 sessions immediately. That we are going to don't miss out on those two, because that is very much in line with the job ready. What is that is required by you for your jobs. Understanding that topics and things like that. So that is very, very important.
Yes, sir, I understand, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions, guys?
Okay, then we can move forward. I don't think. Tony, do you have any other question? Tony?
Hello. I don't have any
Yeah,
question again. No.
Okay then.
So let's continue from here. So now you saw what is an attack and things and all, but we need to understand from a security perspective who is doing these activities, and this it is done by attacker. Uh, Nowadays, previously we should use the word hacker. Nowadays we don't use it much more because hacker has a much more broader meaning nowadays, right? Hacker is also a word used for someone who is an expert in a particular technology, right? That is what it basically means. So attacker or attackers are the ones who are going to perform this, and let's understand what is the main reason for doing this activity, right? One is the first and most common point we see is the financial gain. They always some kind of a money, because when they compromise certain data, they can get their credit card information and things that can be used to sell their credit card information to anyone else, right? If there's a very new credit card information, it can be sold for about $4 to $5. That is why whenever you go when you book online airline tickets, you're supposed to take the card that you booked to the airport as well, because most of the time, a lot of these airline tickets are booked using stolen credit card, and that's how it is. Other reasons is activists. They are, let's say you're doing an activist, like you don't like certain things, like a lot of petroleum companies gets hacked, and again their website defaced, putting all the animals who die because of oil spillage in the oceans and things like that. for that. And we have seen a lot of, Russian websites getting hacked by the Ukrainians in the recent times, and vice versa, to protest against what kind of any kind of a thing that is there. Fourth point is espionage. This is basically for copyright material. Companies stealing other companies' information, trying to do what is happening out there, and things like that. That is what basically in a espionage is basically is there. And the personal revenge. People have some personal revenge. They try to hack systems, try to capture their, in the webcam cameras, because think about it, right? Where are the places you can take your laptop? It's going to be everywhere, in your bedroom, in your hall, in your kitchen, and everywhere. What if, your camera is hacked? Your laptop is hacked and your camera is hacked, and they can record everything that is there. So what are the activities you may be doing in front of your camera, right? Even though you're thinking it's closed, it's not working, right? So people have used this to capture, hack their store and blackmail people into doing things and all. And this is where a personal revenge comes into play, right? The most dangerous one I feel in this is the national security, because companies will have a cyber security budget, and there's a limitation. They can go with the professionals who are going to be with that part good enough for that. But when it comes to countries, they have an unlimited budget. When it comes to national security, there is no budget. Previously, we saw a lot of countries would spend more on defense, right? They would spend more on defense. How do you protect their think about? But nowadays, they are spending more on offensive. How do you hack other countries' infrastructure, right? What if a China can hack into American grid, power grid, nuclear plant? If they can bring it down, they can open dam doors and things and all. They can kill people in millions, right? In thousands, or they can also cause a social unrest during the time of war, right? So that is very much important, and that is why it is the offensive capabilities are very high. A lot of countries, diplomatic, they had CCTV cameras placed there. China was actually able to hack their other countries' diplomatic, diplomat officers, and they bugged them, and they used their own cameras to spy on them, and that's one of the things that could happen out there. It is they pay the highest salaries, they get the best hardware, they can even get a supercomputer to break into any companies and things like that. That is how the resourceful they can be. So this is the most, and there is always a reason for that. uh, so that is, there are cases, we might have seen, China has taken over, and they do have a lot of defense related look similar to American war machines and things like that, because they hacked into American ammunitions companies and they got the blueprints for that. It may not be 100% exact copy, but they can get very much near to that part. That's other things. But how are this, right? So one is individuals, organized crime, and nation state. And nation state is what we just spoke about. And nowadays we don't see individuals. In the movies we might see, but movies rarely predict what happens in an hacking event accurately, right? It is very difficult to do this activity. Individuals are limited. Their attacks is gone down significantly. It is the organized crime that is coming into play, right? Lot of these large attacks, lot of this credit card fraud and things are done by large cartels who were into drug business and the money business. They are more into cybersecurity. They will have separate departments. They will run their organized crime cyber division just like running in any IT company. They will have managers. They'll have team leads, specialized people for that, people who specialize in web service attack, people who specialize in Linux, people who specialize in Windows. All those things will be done. That is how capable they are. And these are the actors that are going to be there, right? We will see a lot about individuals and organized crime, but we will not hear very little about nation state. I think we heard about nation state related recently. Stuxnet, Iranian nuclear power plant was hacked by Iran, Israeli, and US using a virus called Stuxnet, and they were able to compromise. They were able to take their nuclear plant, they progressed backward for a very long time. That's the thing. So the holistic solution in cybersecurity, the reason why cybersecurity is very vast is that you will see there is no one particular silver bullet. There is multiple things you have to do to get things there. It includes more than blocking attack, includes tools, cyber tools, process, people. How do you do back, disaster recovery, and how do you recover from problem? How do you do assessment and things? There are multiple things that comes into play, right? Processes not only deal with doing certain tools or having a firewall up in place. It also deal about training people out there, right? So, but we will see how things have progressed. Previously there were physical theft in the initially, right? Even today, when you're doing ISO 27 compliance, there is a minimum hardware, physical security requirement. If you're having a server, your server room storing your server should be of a certain thickness, and they should be of, the lock should be of certain caliber lock. You just can't keep it up there, and there's limitations for that, you know, because it has happened that people who walk in and take their server and get out, and people who come inside the company and take someone's laptop and run away. That is happening out there. That has happened, right? So I had the opportunity of visiting one of the very high security companies. They were holding on to very important information. The company was so secure. There will be only one door that is going to open in the entire company. If there's a breach within 10 seconds, the entire company will be filled with smoke. The windows were strong enough. Only you can remove the windows can be pulled using a heavy machinery. Something like an JCB is needed to pull, and there's going to be a police escort within 5 minutes of a breach. Within 15 minutes, they're supposed to have an air support. There's a lot of things depending on that security of that. That depends, right? This is what initially it started, right? People were not good enough. And password protection were not as good as what we're having today. So anyone who's having access to the server were able to see the data, right? Then it moved on to denial of service attacks. Then we saw people started getting more into email attacks. A lot of the attacks and the vulnerabilities were there that is going to be put out there. Then finally it went on to malware and botnet attacks, right? Malware is nothing but your ransomware that you click on it, you get virus infected, there's a backdoor generated and things and all those things that are there. Then finally it went on to social attacks, right? The phishing mails and what we see nowadays. Social plays a major problem. It is, a lot of people give out their phone numbers in mall for an, lucky dip. They might give out their email IDs out there, giving it to complete strangers without thinking about it twice. Uh, when you give out your information, they will ask people to like their page, right? Like their Instagram page or Facebook page and get a, lucky dip. They might win. This could be a major problem. You're actually giving your information to the attacker. What are the chances that your password is there in your all and some of your Instagram posts, right? You may put up your house address. You may put up a tag to your house address, your name, number may not be there. Your name will be there. Your date of birth will be there because you would have told I got 50 years. I'm turning 18. I'm turning 30. On this particular day, they can check out. You might not only do that, you can do it for your family members also, right? Because your password may include your family members. So those are the things that you have to think. Social attacks, try to keep things personal. And nowadays, AI is getting used as well, right? AI is doing a lot of tricks and things. One of the major problems we saw in doing a lot of social attacks was that it was difficult to get a proper voice and things like that. Now we can use AI's voice to auto generate. We can teach AI to call up people and fool them into giving up their information that is there. But as the time passed by, right? As the time passed by, there was more security for all the things, right? We introduced locks initially, preventing it. Then there was a virtual locks like firewall, which prevented from going it. The antivirus was introduced to prevent any kind of a malware or ransomware and things like that. And pen testing, to check out what are the uh, things that comes into play, and SOC plays in very important, right? And again, how do you train your employees? How do you train them? The training and security awareness training that is given out there, all those things that are there. And nowadays you see any organization where there is a specific, the much more awareness is there. The products that we give, laptops that is given to the companies are very thought after. It is not simply like they want you to have a MacBook Pro and company are more interested in that to give a very good experience or give a expensive product, nothing like that. MacBooks or Lenovo ThinkPads are much more safer products. They have much more, encryption. The data is not going to be stolen, and it gives them much more better control over employees, right? They can keep a better track on these devices, what employees are doing on this laptop devices, because it supports those activities. That is the main reason for that. And that is the one thing that we see, right? SOC, Security Operations Center, endpoint detection and response, and managed detection and response. All those things are going to be done out there. So the main thing they do is to gain access, right? Bad actors work to find access to corporate through social engineering, credential compromise, and environment vulnerabilities. Environment vulnerabilities basically is about zero-day attacks or any issues or vulnerability in a service or the credential is trying to know what a username and password is going to be there. Predominantly company employees email ID is going to be their user ID, right? Only thing I have to think about is password. Sometimes they might give out their email IDs in the company websites and things, especially for senior directors and things. They'll tell small organization, they'll tell our team, and they'll put their photos, name, and their email IDs out there, and that is will be their the companies, their user IDs. The only thing I have to compromise the password. Now I got everything out there, right? So social engineering is that probably what if you send out this particular phishing mail to the director or a senior team member and he clicks on it and enters the password for that. That is that. So how do you prevent this kind of an attack? Always have a multi-factor authentication, and either OTP is coming or you're getting an authenticator on your mobile to log into your web pages and things like that, or your email for accessing a particular service. That is there. Phishing mail, make sure only way to protect this against phishing mail is your email service provider does a lot of activities. They'll help you filter out majority of it, about 90% of it, but still the 10% has a bigger impact. And to prevent that kind of an activity, you have to train the employees. You have to have a regular training session for them. Tell them this is what is happening. Please don't do these things process. An expert basically make sure you're up to date. You're constantly checking for updates. It is advised to be checking for updates once in few days. That is very much important. That is there, right? Why? Because many SMBs do not believe that risk of because they are too small. There is no small, and if you have valuable data, then you are the target. Every year, the number of financial losses that is going to be there is about 10.3 billion losses in 2022. That was there, and it has gone up. It is not going to go down. It is always going to go up. And this is a reported loss. This is not a loss that is not reported. A lot of companies will not report because, as they told, the trust is gone. They don't want to show. A lot of times, a lot of organizations which who come to us, middle of the night, we have a call. They want to have discuss something because they got hacked and they've been continuously hacked, right? We get on a call with them immediately and see this what is happening out there, right? So we have to tell them what's happening out there. We have to do the assessment then and there and tell them this is what is happening. Block this, and that's how it's there. So they don't disclose those kind of information. They tell, okay, we have not lost too much money or things like that. And probably this is not an ideal number. Probably I feel this is 2 or 3 times more than that, probably even more than that. We don't get banking information detailed or sources. That's there. Espionage is also there. That's important. So how do you secure? Security is never a single event or single stage. There is multiple things that has to be there. access and things has to be done at a multiple layer. That only when the securities can be achieved. And understand one thing, people always feel if someone is telling you we are going to give you 100% security, you cannot be hacked, they are lying upfront. That is, no one will give you 100% security. If someone wants to hack your data, they can always going to do that. They'll always going to breach it and they'll find a way, right? Only thing what we can do as a security professionals is to make it really, really, really hard, right? If some data is there in some secure place, people always find a way. They can do social engineering, they can, they can kidnap someone, they can threaten someone to kill to get the data and things like that. Something could happen out there. It's very important, very difficult. The only thing we can do is that we can make it more difficult for them, right? So what are the things? What are the 5 stages that is going to be there? One is foundational security. So here is where we are doing basic things, right? Providing email security, because email has to be protected for virus and things and all. Making sure your data is backed up properly, your laptops are there, making sure multi-factor authentications are there, wireless security. You will be surprised number of times people uh, will be using hotspots inside the company. They will not use company Wi-Fi, or they might be using company Wi-Fi or something like that, right? So there we did a assessment for a credit card printing factory, right? Your banks will be printing those credit cards somewhere. We went to that, we did a wireless access point. We found more than 100 hotspots in that place on the floor. That was a big security breach. The main reason is that there's not someone trying to do. The company employees did not know that they're not supposed to do that, right? The next day, everything got done because it was very difficult for us to go, because you're supposed to register your mobile before entering that particular facility, right? I had to give out my identity proof, which laptop I'm going to take, which devices I'm going to take well in advance. That company printing where they're doing, it is completely off the grid. There is no, what do you mean? There's no board. There's no nameplate. What is the name of that bank, or what exactly is happening on that, right? It feels like you're going someplace different completely, thing very normal, but does not happen. Even those places that could have been there, right? That is there. So we have to make sure all those basic things are there. Second stage is the companies. First stage is the devices and things. A security appliances should be there. Second thing is policy and awareness. Getting people into that, getting people to understand what is important out there, right? So do uh, come up with security policies. How do you do phishing exercises? Remote workers education, right? How do you, if a lot of people do work from home, there's no way we can monitor them in a particular way. So how do you do that? How do you train them, right? And how do you do penetration testing and vulnerability analysis on a regular basis? That is what the thing, because you might have devices up and running out there. You might have get people out there. How do you know it is working or not, right? How do you know security is working or not? So that is when we do pen testing and assessment. So that will give us proof that that is working out there. And third is access management. Key processes is, this is basically at a managerial level, we are managing things and security, how we are doing this activity, how we are managing all those things. Configuration is been done or not. Is the patches been applied? All those things are going to be checked on a regular basis, right? Fourth stage is incident response. This I hope no one comes to do, because whenever there is a breach, this has to be done, right? There is no step. We have to assume that we are going to be breached, and we have to assume we are breached, and there should be a planning and process for that. And there should be what should happen. Let's say I find out the company is breached. Now, what are the steps that has to be there? Who should be informed? Is the CISO should be informed? Is the CEO should be informed? Is the financial officer should be informed? Which are the teams that should be informed? All those things, and what are the steps for that? Am I supposed to take the server offline, or I'm supposed to do only take the server which got hacked, or all the servers completely block? All those things is we're supposed to be pre-planned, out there, and when something happens, you have to be implemented out there, right? And finally is monitoring. This is nothing but SOC. Every activity should be monitored. It is going to be so difficult. So the monitoring level nowadays is so high, right? Even if you are running in, right, any command in your Linux operating system as a root user, that's supposed to be recorded, monitored, and logged and sub given out there. An administrator should give a reasoning why is running a root command in that particular server, right? So that is how it is going to be. It is as vulnerability perspective. It is normal employee plugging in a pen drive into their company laptop. It is how much is an impact it is going to have. An administrator entering a root level password, sorry, root level command is that going to be there. And that is also going to be tracked. They have to give justification for that because everything is going to be monitored, right? Who is having access? Every time someone accesses the website, there's a log generated for that. They need to store that log, right? There was a company, right? They thought they got hacked, I think so. What they did was they got someone to analyze and found out they were actually hacked. And they found out they got hacked not like a month's time before, weeks time before, or a couple of days before. They were hacked for more than 4 years, right? That company was hacked for more than 4 years and they did not know about it. Only when they did the log analytics, they got to know that something is up, and then they found the log information and they saw that one particular user does not exist anywhere. That user ID is there. They were worried why is that their trade secrets were getting leaked, how it was getting leaked. They got that, they created that ID 4 years back. And even though after that they fixed everything, there's no vulnerability or anything, right? But the attacker created a backdoor 4 years back and he was coming and going whenever he wants, right? That's the main thing, right? But why is this organization struggling in security, right? Main thing is people focus more on business rules and business management. Focusing spending on business is more important from them and security. It is not a joke. What we'll see a lot of times, there will be very least amount of spending in security before a breach. Once they get breached, there is an unlimited budget for that. That has happened in real time. That happens. We have seen it in real time, right? They'll tell we are not going to get hacked and things. We do give them an assessment, tell that there's a severe security problem. They don't take it seriously. When the day they get hacked, they're there and they tell the we please help us out, set up the team and things like that. All those things, right? Managing security at scale is difficult. What happens is that small organization, they will be good with security because less things to do. But as the organization grows, the more and more things comes into play. It becomes very difficult to manage, right? In organizing, doing the security work for 15 to 20 employees is entirely different to 100 employees because a lot of things comes into play. Right? Another thing is lack of knowledge. They will not know what to do and how to do it. They will not know where to follow. They will not have the right set of people. Their normal IT team will be working as a security team, which is not a good idea. They will not know, right? The lack of knowledge, and sometimes they may be targeted for that. Their competitors want to gain access for that, right? And one of the main thing, the lack of knowledge or anything is failing is staffing. We don't have, even though security is having high demand job roles, we are seeing that roles are not getting filled because there's a severe lack of knowledge in company in that part. Unfortunately, security is not that easy. That is one of the main reasons why we do DevOps first and then come to DevSecOps is for the same thing. Underlying technology understanding of that is very much important. Without that, having security is very difficult. It becomes, it is becoming more and more. It is a bit better nowadays. Still, people find it difficult, right? I still face finding better people on my job market is very difficult. I still go with people and then take them on board and train them. Unfortunately, it takes me more time to do it, get them off and running. But I don't have any other option because they're still very difficult to get quality security employees out there, right? And it is also very difficult. There are a lot of cases where I've taken someone on board, trained them for 3 to 4 months, and after they get trained, they leave because they got a better offer after somewhere else out there, So, but we still continue because we have to stick to the company policies. We can't give them. That is how difficult it is. If you have knowledge, correct knowledge of it, then you'll get snatched up. So just understand from a security market perspective, it is expected to grow to $270 billion by 2026. It is growing significantly, right? And yet, after getting so many people into play, 70% of organizations say they have a worker shortage, right? One of the reasons, when you see penetration testing as a job market, you will see when you go check in their roles and check out, talk to these pen testers, you will see about 50 to 60% will not come from computer background. They'll come from a completely different background, right? And one of the highest paying jobs for freshers we see is in pen testing because it requires the skill set is a bit more difficult to come around. Once you have that, it becomes much more easier, So there are a lot of things that comes into play, but it becomes much more difficult. We're still finding it difficult. It's still going to be there, right? The reason for cyber market growth are more companies are spending more on security. The main reason is number of attacks are increasing. More than that is the compliance requirement. There's something compliance like ISO 27 and HIPAA, SOC 2 and things and all. A lot of companies refuse to work with some companies if they are not certified with these security certifications. So for that, they will come down and tell, please do this, and they need to set up things and all those things are there. And that is driving even the cybersecurity market even higher, right? There are places where they're just hiring someone and they're able to train them and get to do some kind of security activities. Let the consultant do the actual work. That is there. But lot of things that we see, SOC security application pen testers and penetration testing are one of the most sought after and well paid. Security operations center analyst, we will see it is one of the most sought after. It's quite easy to get into SOC but it is quite mundane job opening. You are start constantly looking at alerts and reporting and then taking into that part. But defense, cyber defense, security engineers, these are the guys who manage firewalls and IDPs and things and all. They are in a blue team. They don't attack or anything. They know how to configure and protect the network. They do get paid very well, right? Application pen test paid very well. Incident and digital forensic investigators, it's also good openings. Incident response happens in large organization. They do get paid well, but again, it is bit more less technical job and much more into a process oriented for that, right? And malware analyst and reverse engineer do work at predominantly at an email security level. That is what we see. A technical director or CISO is what we see nowadays. A lot of organizations are finding it difficult to fill these roles because there is no senior level management. Because the CISO is someone's chief information security is someone who will have the technical skill set, but he is not technically going to do it. He is going to drive the organization security. He is going to help management understand security, tell them what has to be done, where has to be done, and things like that. That is how they do. Security architect and secure software development managers are pretty much more. It is based on an hierarchical approach. These are the teams members who sit with software developers and tell how to secure their web applications, right? How to secure at a design level itself. What are the security tools that needs to be used by the organizations? Those things that comes into play, right? So this is what we see But as we go further down in the more and more and security thing, industry is maturing enough. The new role that is coming into play is DevSecOps, right? DevSecOps role engineer combines multiple things. It combines you as a penetration tester. It combines you as a security architect, secure development center, and also an someone who's doing at a technical level also. There can be and one of the main advantages of DevSecOps role is that they work closely with senior management because these roles are very limited and a lot of organizations they work on multiple critical projects, DevSecOps engineers, and we have seen they work closely with top tier management. They're directly reporting to CISO and things like that because we see a lot of our students who clear the courses after clearing when they attend the interviews. Either the first round or the third round is either taken by the chief information security officer. In some cases, chief technical officer is taking there and talking to them because they want our students to come and help their organization, with security and how do they move forward from there. That is what. So that is there but because of that reason, the scrutiny, the interviews are much more harder. But once these are the most highly paid job opportunities, what we see in the current time, right? See here, Chief Information Security Officer, 300,000 penetration testing on an average. There are some cases, this is the salary given to an absolute fresher pen tester also. If his skill set, his knowledge is matching, you can still demand an higher pen tester, right? And security consultant is similar to analyst roles and things. There's still what we see, almost a fresher and a couple of years experience in cybersecurity, especially in pen testing or in DevSecOps, almost get a very high package compared to other job roles for a similar part into that part, right? And this is the main thing, right? Is also that it takes about, as I told, 32% of security managers says it takes 6 months or more to find a qualified candidate to open position, right? It takes literally, I'm not joking, it takes there are times when we finalize on a guy, we give them the offer letter, they told okay, we have about 90 days to take a we have to be in my current company, then I'll be moving to your company. In that 90 days time, someone would have offered him a much better package and we will not be able to hold on to that. 6 months, if you're able to finalize some candidate and that guy joins in 6 months, you will be lucky. That is how it is. That is why I'm tired of waiting for people to join. Either rather than waiting for someone to join, I can take someone and train them. That would be I can save time in that particular process, right? So what are the training we see here in the main course is basically what we do, what I train in real time for my employees out there, right? So that's the thing, This week basically is about introducing to security what is the different roles and responsibilities. We'll be looking at the roles and responsibility for different job types in the next coming sessions out there. Predominantly, cybersecurity is more into theory and concepts and explaining things. We'll try to add bit more in the next coming weeks. We'll try to add bit more practical part also into that part, right? We'll see. Okay. So that's it for today. Any questions? Any questions, guys?
Thank you, Mr. Karthik. We'll take a few more minutes to take some question if you have any. Twain, you have some question.
Okay. My questions is based on SOC analyst.
SOC analyst, you mean to say?
SOC
Security
analyst,
operations.
SOC.
Yes.
Yeah, because because they said I get some information that is very easy to get into those sectors. You should try that one before someone gets you inside. Like it's like a pathway to get into cybersecurity. He
Yeah.
said cybersecurity is a broad like career.
Mhm.
So SOC analysts and all these
From
analysts
an
and
Yes, from a career perspective, I would not suggest a SOC analyst role. Uh, the main reason is I feel from my experience, right, what I have seen from a SOC perspective is that it is similar to a call center executive role. What happens is that you're given a terminal, you have to sit there. Whenever a device generates an alerts, it gets pushed to you, right? And then you are supposed to look at that alert, check whether it's a valid alert or not. If it is a valid alert, then you'll push it to the other people out there, right? The senior management out there. And basically, it is talking about getting alerts or anything. From a career perspective, there is not much of an growth into that, right? When you do pen testing and things like that, whether you go into a manager role in cybersecurity or you get into an architect role telling that what security has to be put into place in that part. From a SOC perspective, it is much more easier to getting into SOC because the entry level knowledge requirement for SOC is very limited, right? Because I've seen in a lot of organization, they specialized in SOC and they also specialized in network infrastructure security, right? People who are there in SOC find it really difficult to jump to network security departments. The main reason is the skill set is so high because these companies will be very much happy to take people from SOC and put it to network security because those companies make more money in network security than in SOC. But the skill set required, the intellectual ability required for infrastructure is much more higher in than pen testing and much more higher than SOC. But and if you're thinking we can get into SOC and then move on to other, there's usually they do frown upon SOC. I don't think they should do, but certain teams would prefer not to hire from SOC teams into their security operations to other non-security operations center roles. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. So
I,
if you could not get into any other cybersecurity role, and then probably SOC would be an ideal place because then you will give you will into cybersecurity as a career, then you can shift. You know? But I would not suggest that as a first choice.
Here,
okay.
I would like to one more point of view. My point of view will be, don't try to, cybersecurity is a huge domain, and you are trying to uh, scale it down in like a 1 in 1,000. If you want to go compliant domain, maybe that makes sense because in the compliant SOC, type 1, type 2, HIPAA, HITRUST, GDPR, NARC, there are so many things is there. But if you are only preparing yourself for for a single compliant, so actually you are filtering out 95% of the job.
Okay. Okay, I get what you're saying. Thank you. So so so
So when you create your or build your career, try to build a career in broader spectrum. So in that spectrum, at least 6 to 7 job roles should come down, like it cover. But if you create your or pursue your career for a very small job role position or very fine like defined job role position, it will backfire you and it will become much more tougher to land on a job because by at starting point only you are filtering out most or 80 to 95% of the job, right?
yes. so so and again the last question, because they say penetration IT is it penetration like just to penetrate
Penetration
and
testing, yeah.
testing testing and they said Devil, Devon and Cloud. So I don't know which one, but they said
DevSecOps. Yeah.
DevSecOps.
DevSecOps.
So and they said I don't know the one that the money, the salary is high and the future is higher between
ac-
penetration and DevOps.
See, in our, if you're talking about, I can understand that you are trying to figure it out. But so in our DevSecOps or cybersecurity training, that is a single training, we are having a goal to create a broader spectrum by which at least 3 to 4 job role come into the, you know, should cover. One is penetration tester, security analyst, security architect, and DevSecOps engineer. So because all our these job role have a very slight different or on their day-to-day job or day-to-day operation. But if you are having a solely, suppose if you have a total experience and knowledge on penetration testing and you don't know about anything about DevSecOps, but there is a very small gap. Maybe it will need 6 or 7 days session to become a master on that, but you cannot sit on or apply for DevSecOps position. Did I answer your question? Or
Yes, yes, you answered. Thank you very much. Thank you.
any other question, or we are all set? So quick note, tomorrow, sorry, next weekend, we will have a session from first 2 hours, 8 to 10 DevOps and 10 to 12 cybersecurity. Our AI job ready training is going to start from this Friday, and that will be US evening batch, and which is morning Indian batch. Our job ready training for cybersecurity and DevOps is going to start on 3rd and 4th of this month, 4th Friday of this month. Both will be morning US batch, evening uh, Indian batch, and late afternoon for European and African time zone students. So if you have any question, any doubt, feel free to ping us. If you have any question regarding this today's session, I think this is a best time you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay then. So thank you everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick, hello, quick question. Sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Karthik. I joined
Yeah.
a little bit late, so Mr. Karthik was already speaking when I joined. I just want to understand, is this like a hands-on, is this going to be like a hands-on internship training? What exactly is this about?
Okay.
Uh,
So
yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Please
uh,
go ahead. Please go ahead.
yeah.
Yes.
So we do have two training. One is main our job ready training. One is free internships training. This free internship training is only for 4 weekend. We do have DevOps free internship, DevSecOps free internship, DevSecOps or cybersecurity free internship. We do have data science and AI free internship. Now this internship we can only conduct in the weekend, and we
Okay.
have 4 weekend session to cover that particular domain or particular topic. Now you can understand 4 into 2, 8 hours is not good enough to complete a whole domain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do have some of the hands-on both on cybersecurity and DevOps internship program, but the end result what you will get a holistic overview about the domain. If you choose your this career path, what will be your day-to-day activity, what kind of tools set you need to play around. You won't be a master on the tools, but you will have an idea what will what your futures looks like.
Okay.
Now there is a one point, so it will give you a test bed for our main training, as well as when you are going to join in industry as that position, what will be your day-to-day activities. It will give you a holistic ideas about that particular domain. Certainly, it will not make you master. So you can understand. I don't think no one can make any freshers to in 4 or 8 hours industry or subject matter expert, right?
Yes.
So, but it will give you, it's good enough time to give you a holistic idea. Now, there are certain people who have right now working on this particular domain, and for certain tools they are facing issue. This internship program is also bring benefits for them as well, because they can join and they can clear their doubts to the trainer directly. We are not going to, restrict ourselves to bring more information on this meeting, but we have a limitation of 8 hours to cover the whole job role or whole job domain. So that is the limitation.
All right. Thank you.
So sorry, this Tony. So
Yeah.
I'm based in Canada. So sometimes your time frame is somehow different from our. But now I think it's our own time is 12:33 p.m. So I don't know the time. Although
So
I really like the time you put there, like the time zone. It makes sense for me.
yes. So I am based out of central time zone. So you can ping me as per CST. Most of our trainer, Mr. Debashish, Karthik, they are based out of IST time zone. And we are all are in our WhatsApp group. You can ping us. You can ask the question directly. If you have
Okay,
any
that's
doubt
good.
related to your job role and job hunting process, feel free to ping me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other question, or we are good to complete today's session?
Excuse me, sir.